Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. We're in Sandon, British Columbia, and we're going to head west to New Denver. Now, here's a little plaque here that the government put up. You can pause it if you want to read it. But Sandon was a big kind of silver rush town, and that was 1897. And this is what the place looks like now. It suffered a couple of instances where the town pretty much got destroyed, but I'll put a link in the bottom description there that gives you the previous video where I go into detail on that. And we're just going to head out of town here now. I don't know if you can call it a town anymore. There's a bunch of these old buses here. These are buses, well, mainly I think they're from Vancouver, but I think there's some from Calgary and maybe other provinces in Canada, but they're called Brill buses, Brill electric trolley buses. And I remember these as a kid in Vancouver. Here's a picture. Most of them are painted this color, but originally they were this color, and that's kind of the way I remember them. I think the color change happened in the early 70s when the government changed, and anyway, they painted their own kind of party colors on there. But anyway, those some of those original ones with the original paint job, they survived. I know up into the 80s I remember getting on them even then that were painted that color. Pretty cool. They have electrical wires that run through the city, so that's how they're powered. I was wondering if somebody could put batteries in them now and run them like an electric vehicle. I wonder if that's a possibility. Be an idea. So over on the left here, you can see there's an active silver mine. You can just see that white there. I'll pull over here. You can kind of get a better view of it through the trees. But that's an active mine. Yeah, so I don't know what the name of this is, but it looks like it's active. I could see a front end loader moving dirt around down there when I drove in. But I think this is one of the original sites, and some of the building has been around a while. But I don't know anything else about it. There are still silver mines in the area, smaller type operations still, but with the price of silver the last few years, probably worthwhile. Some of these mines that maybe weren't worth it in the past, or it might become more financially viable now. So this road's pretty well looked after, and it's it's got no issues at all. Nice and smooth, even though it is a dirt road. Once we get to the highway, it's of course back to pavement. And that's the highway that goes between Caslow and New Denver. And that's Highway 31A. I was watching a video on YouTube. One of the old drivers for the on the Brill trolley buses. She was kind of, I guess she created a video for her grandkids mainly initially, but talking about her experience starting out in that, and her day-to-day kind of problems, and pretty interesting to watch. But it's fairly long, but I'll put a link to it in the description if anybody's at all interested. I think she was one of the very few women that were drivers for BC Transit. That would be the early 70s, I think. 73 or 74, I think, I remember. Yeah, she says in the video anyway, it goes right from our day of getting hired right till the end, but pretty interesting. So the video where we're driving up here, like I say, I'll put a link in the bottom in the description for that. But it's quite a different look coming downhill than it was going up. So that's why I figured might as well somebody would be interested in watching this. A couple spots where there's been some landslides or avalanches or something. This area gets a lot of snow, like I've mentioned before, and this is early October when I filmed this. Guys working on the road here. So where we joined the highway is called Three Forks, and that was another area that had a lot of mines and that, and they call it Three Forks because there's in addition to Carpenter Creek, which is on our left, which goes through the Sandon area, right through the town actually, literally, and it joins up with Cane Creek and Seton Creek at Three Forks, and then they all head down towards New Denver as Carpenter Creek. So I remember driving through here on this road, probably early 90s, and on the left hand side, the other side of the creek, in a couple places you could see, depending on what time of year it was, I think, I remember you could see mine shafts going right into the hillside, kind of, you know, maybe 50 feet up from the creek, and kind of just looked like something that would be neat to explore. But they had you know, really stereotypical kind of mine shaft entrances on them, but there was a couple of them. I always thought they'd be interesting to check out. But they're all over the place here. There's been mines, but you know, most of them are so old that the timbers and stuff would be probably pretty rotting, and a lot of them will have collapsed, I'm sure, by now. Quite easy to find details on where the different mines were, just searching claim numbers and that sort of thing. So here's the highway up here. We're going to go to the left. As I mentioned in the other video, if you're coming up the hill, you know you're at Three Forks when you get to this real tight bend. So in Sandon, there were actually two different rail lines that went in there. One of them, I believe, went down this way. I don't know if it was where the road is now, but it would have been pretty steep either way. But that went right down into Sandon, and that's where they would ship a lot of the silver ore and that south on either barges or on stern wheelers down to Slocan City, and then on to Trail or wherever to get smelted. But there was also another train that went the other direction towards Caslow, and they were competing rail lines. I think in this direction, I think it was Canadian Pacific, and the other one, geez, just off the top of my head, I think it was KS rail line or something, Caslow Slocan or something like that. So they were actually side by side, some tracks as they went through Sandon, right through the city itself. Think of how much effort it would have been just to put a rail line in, late 1800s, and yeah, it's crazy when you think about, there's next to no resources up here for building something like that. Everything would have to come up the river on the stern wheeler or by barge that they'd strap to the stern wheeler. No, I guess I should say my camera hangs off the side of my truck. Makes it look like I'm driving over the line, but I'm not. I get comments from people saying they think I'm driving over the line and stuff, but in reality it's kind of a perspective thing. It's just where the camera is located. You can see my hood there on the right, how far over the truck is. Starting to get into New Denver here. Looking more civilized already. I think there's probably a fair bit of logging in the area as well as tourism and that, but it's back in the old days this would have been, pretty much just silver mines, that sort of thing, a few gold mines, but yeah, I'm sure there's a fair bit of logging that happens in the area. New Denver's a really nice spot though. Yeah, so this is New Denver. We're going to pull into a little store up here on the right, and going to call it the end of this video, I think. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you like this type of thing, think about subscribing and give it a like. Always appreciate that. Other than that, I'll catch you on the next one.